Good morning and welcome to our Senior Living webinar series. Before we jump into it, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land on which this webinar is being filmed today and the various lands in which everyone's linking in from today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, traditions, cultures, hopes and aspirations of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. My name's Olivia and I work with Churches of Christ in Queensland. My job is to engage and provide information for our seniors within the community. We're here today with Leah Steinberg from Care to Move. Leah, would you like to give us a small introduction to yourself and to your business?
Oh, I thank you, Olivia. I'd love to. So I'm Leah Steinberg. I'm the founder and director of Care to Move.
Awesome.
So Care to Move helps seniors who are downsizing and moving into aged care.
Awesome.
So we're senior move managers.
Perfect.
And we help people all over Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, move into and transition into their next phase. So we like to call it, instead of downsizing, rightsizing, which puts a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
Previously, I was a registered nurse, and I've moved into this business, and with the aim of helping people. So,
Amazing.
yeah, we've been operating for 5 years now, and we have a team of ladies, and we go out to people's homes and help them, with one of the hardest tasks in the world,
Yeah,
and that's
definitely.
downsizing and moving on.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So when you engage with a client, where do you start? How do you start the process?
Well, normally what we do is have a bit of a conversation on the phone, and we organise a time for us to come out and do a no obligation sort of estimate where we come and have a chat, have a cup of tea. We sit down with you and work out, what are your plans, what are your time frames like, and, what do you want to do? So we work with our clients hand in hand, their time frames, their schedules. Sometimes it could be over, 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Other times, it could be, can you start on Monday? So it just depends on what stage you're at. But we initially look at how, where are you going?
Yep.
So some are moving into just maybe a 1-bedroom, but others may be going into a 3-bedroom retirement village.
Yeah.
So we often ask whether the client has made that decision yet, or whether they need to make some more time, and we can introduce people. Obviously, Churches of Christ is, going to be one of the best places, but there's lots of options, and it may be that the client wants to age in place for a little too. So, it might be about making the place where they're living safe and clutter-free, so we can help people with that too.
Perfect.
But when you're moving into the new place, it's really great if we can get a hold of a floor plan, or if we can go out there and have a look. So then we can make sure the items that you're taking are going to fit.
Yeah.
So we initially look at what furniture you have and what furniture you'd like to take. And oftentimes, the furniture we have in our big homes is way too big for a smaller apartment style living.
Yeah.
So sometimes, clients might decide to sell all their furniture or move it on to charity and buy new furniture. It may be that you only have enough room to take a chair.
Yeah.
So we'll work with our clients and make sure we get a plan in place, so that then we can position all the furniture and make sure your new home feels like home.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So do you have any specific tips for each individual room? So often when in the later stages of life, our wardrobes are overflowing. Do you have any tips of how to minimise these down and holding on to those key pieces?
Oh, that's a really good point. Our wardrobes are probably one of the first things that we tackle when we go and work with clients.
Yeah.
Quite often our clients have downsized that themselves, but sometimes that becomes too overwhelming. So what we'll do is go through the wardrobe and make sure that you're only taking the stuff that you're going, well, one, that fits, and two, that you're going to be wearing at the new place, because quite often you know, your activities of daily living change. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable and that you've got the right set of clothes for what you're going to be doing. So we also make sure that we measure the wardrobe hanging space in the new place to make sure that you're not taking metres and metres worth of hanging when you've only got perhaps a metre of hanging available. So we make sure that you're going into fit for purpose and it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes if you've got extra bedrooms, you might end up with a bit more hanging space, so you could put your winter clothes in there and that sort of thing. It may be also that you've got a storage cage or, you know, some other alternatives, but we really recommend downsizing your clothes. And some of the pearlers that you find, Olivia, the vintage clothes, they even sell on Marketplace. The vintage areas of the charity shops. Lifeline's got a whole vintage revival area now, so they will happily accept vintage clothes.
Oh, amazing.
Even ask your grandchildren because they might want them, some cool jackets.
In saying that, my grandma is a very fashionable lady, so I often get her hand-me-downs, which is fantastic.
Oh, you'd be the coolest girl out there.
I know, exactly.
So they're, you know, it's really worth going through, and we can help identify some of those items that might be really fashionable at the moment, and you know, you might even be able to put onto Facebook Marketplace and sell them.
Exactly. It's always where they say fashion is a cycle, so things will definitely be coming back in.
It always comes back round.
Probably one of the next most overwhelming rooms would be your kitchen. Do you have any tips for what people should be bringing along when moving? Because often they're coming from quite large kitchens to quite a smaller space.
That's right. So it's really important to carefully look at the number of cupboards and drawers in the new kitchen and make a very, you know, big decision about what you're going to take with you from your current kitchen. Quite often we've got great big collections of crockery, cutlery, tagines. It could be that we've got multiple sets of saucepans and fry pans. But if we think about it rationally and pragmatically, we only really need a basic kitchen.
Of course.
You know, we might have an excess of glassware, we might have an excess of wine and champagne glasses. Realistically, again, you've got to look at, are you going to be entertaining? I mean, you should be the one being entertained now. So just take what you need, and we can help with a bit of a guide on what would constitute a good kitchen setup. So that you've got everything you need, but it's not overwhelming, and it'll fit into your new kitchen.
Amazing. And a lot of time when people are right-sizing, they're generally losing maybe a third bedroom or a study, and paperwork can definitely add up over the years. Do you have any tips, or do you assist with sorting through paperwork?
Absolutely. So paperwork can be the bane of people's existence because we like to hoard onto the paper. We've got it in our minds that, you know, we have to keep records. But in this day and age, a lot of it is electronic. So that's good in some respect because it frees us up from the paper, but it's important with an electronic system to also have that filed correctly. So we can help with those items. The thing with paper is you need to be able to have a system in place that keeps your records and your personal effects in a safe spot. So that means your passport and your, you know, birth certificate, those important papers, your marriage certificate, so that you've got them in a nice compact sort of a box that you can take with you if you need to, and also look after during the move. And it's important to also have copies of those too. So nowadays with the smartphones, it's so easy to take photos of these important items, but also receipts and invoices that, you know, you think you might need to keep a record of for a while, but you don't actually want to keep the paper because it is overwhelming. I receive so much paper every day, and it's certainly something you've got to stay on top of.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember one client we had, he decided he kept the newspapers from 1981. So he had piles and piles of newspapers in his office.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we would consider him I guess, he had a hoarding newspaper issue, and his wife was less than impressed.
Of course.
But he was happy to give them up.
That's good.
When he moved on to his next place. And you could see the weight lift off his shoulders.
Yes.
He was much happier.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And when you are going through people's offices, do you have the facility to shred things just so that people do have that peace of mind that their information isn't just going to end up at the dump?
Absolutely. So we have shredding suppliers that will come to your home.
Oh, good.
And shred the paper on site,
Yep.
so you know that it's being taken care of then and there. We can also organise a shredding bin, so you can do it at your leisure.
Yeah.
We can have it delivered, and you can fill that bin up and have it taken away or shredded on site again. So there's many options for that, and I think it's a really good idea to securely shred your personal items and make sure that your identity is kept secure. So we absolutely help with that sort of thing. And I guess there's other manuals and warranties and all those sorts of things that might go along with your appliances.
Yeah.
So if you've moved that appliance on, then you don't need that anymore.
No, of course.
Oftentimes all the instruction manuals are online, or you might actually know how to use that already.
Yeah.
So we encourage people to move those items on as well, and reduce the paper clutter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know definitely in my dad's office, he's kept pretty well every birthday card, every Father's Day card that we've ever given him. What do you do for people with those more personal items and gifts that they probably aren't quite ready to get rid of, but they're taking up quite a bit of space?
Well, that's the thing. Photos, I think, fall into that category as well.
Yeah.
So with the gifts and the cards that come to you, we like to encourage our clients to remember that feeling of when the card actually greeted you or wished you happy birthday.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the time that it's done its job. Sitting there in a drawer or a cupboard, it's just collecting dust.
100%.
Rarely does it give you that same feeling that it did when it first greeted you. The person that gave you that card will not be offended that you've moved it on. So it doesn't diminish the love you have for that person if you move it on. So, if you absolutely love that card and you, love the design or it has a sentimental value, then sure, you might want to keep one or two. It may be that it's from your mother who's passed on. But what's really nice, and again, I bring back the smartphone, take a photo of it.
Yeah, of course.
Because then you can keep it electronically, and it can be passed on to your family in an electronic format rather than having the burden of stuff.
Exactly.
Because it's heavy.
Yes, definitely. And things like photo albums, do you have maybe providers that can help scan those through and keep a digital record?
Yeah, so nowadays you can do it yourself with the smartphone.
Yeah.
Or you can send your albums away to a supplier, and we've got a few in and around Brisbane that we have used, and they will go through and digitise your photos.
Amazing.
They'll also do home videos.
Oh, beautiful.
So it is beautiful, and it's wonderful for the family because then you can share those with multiple members of the family rather than someone fighting about, well, who gets mum's wedding photo.
Exactly.
It may be that you want to keep some of the old photos and hang them on the wall, but make sure that they are displayed and in use, because if they're sitting away in a drawer, then really no one's getting any enjoyment from them, and it's worthwhile making a decision about what to do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so when you're working through this process and there are items that you want to give away or throw away, what do you do with these items? Or where will they go?
Well, it's a big thing, because if you've lived in a home all your life where you've raised your children and you've got a lot of furniture, it's furniture that suits a large family home, I imagine.
Yeah.
It's not really going to suit a small unit. So as I said before, there will be some things that you can take with you, but they have to be measured and made sure that they will fit.
Yes.
For the other items, I guess, you've got to make some decisions, and we encourage our clients to use a coloured dot system.
Amazing.
So the dots signify what you're going to do with that item. So for example, a yellow dot may be that you stick it on items that are going to charity. Green might be that you're taking those items with you. Red may be that they're going off to waste.
Yeah.
Blue may mean that they're going to family members.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way of getting all your thoughts out of your head and be able to easily put the dots on
100%.
and make that chart. And then everyone knows, including all the suppliers and your family, about what is intended for those items. There's one more category which we might need another colour for, let's say pink, that we might sell.
Yeah.
So it's good to get onto those ones ASAP and get them listed, or get a grandchild or a child to help you with that. But it's really worth doing.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing is with selling items, there's often an avenue, if you've got antiques or items that are of value, to have an auction. So sometimes, if you've got a lot of valuable items and you know that they are of value, some things can be valuable to you but not valuable in the marketplace. But if they are in the marketplace valuable, auction houses are a really good way to be able to sell a lot of stuff in bulk. Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree, it's sort of one by one. Or you could sell it as a lot if you have a collection. So there are a number of things, and we can advise people on what to do with that. So
I know that my parents moved from a 5-bedroom house down to a 2-bedroom house, and pretty well used Facebook and Gumtree just to pretty well pay for people to take away their stuff. They'd list things relatively cheaply, and it just took away that burden and made their job so much easier in the end.
Absolutely. And we worked with a lady recently who, while we were there helping her pack up her house, she sold over $3,000 worth of
amazing.
stuff.
Yeah.
Just in one day. So she was pretty happy.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, if you hit the sweet spot, you get the market at the right price, it really saves having to get those items transported, which costs money.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And so what do you do with those items that you can't really sell and they can't just go in the normal bin? So like medications, or say your shed still has paint and petrol and things like that. How do you dispose of those? Yeah,
so that's often a thing that our clients are a little worried about, is what are we going to do with all the sort of hazardous chemicals, from the laundry and the shed and pesticides. So we ensure that they are all removed and taken care of very thoughtfully and environmentally. If you're removing them yourself and you are going to the dump, they have special areas where you can put those items. So they don't go into the general landfill, and they don't go down the sink or the toilet. They can be disposed of in special ways to ensure they don't, get into our waterways. With medication, their pharmacies take it, and they're happy to accept any medication, and they will dispose of that properly. So, it's important that doesn't make it into the general landfill as well, and particularly if there are medicines that, for example, antibiotics or pain medicines that, perhaps might be a little sought after. Just be careful with those.
Of course.
Yes.
Awesome. So in an ideal world, so say I have 12 months to sell my house. I'm just starting to think about it. Where do I start? What do I do?
So 12 months is an ideal time frame to sell your house, because it gives you enough time to go through and prepare your house for sale. The more pristine and uncluttered and beautiful you can make your house for sale and to have pictures on the internet, the higher you'll get for it. It's absolutely proven, and we actually work with stylists as well, so we will in fact sometimes remove a lot of the client's furniture and items and put in new furniture and display items, you know, to really increase the look of the home and make sure that they're getting top dollar for that sale. And often it's a really good way to be able to, you know, get that top dollar.
Perfect.
But it is a luxury to get a stylist in. Often we can style your home with items that you've already got.
Yeah.
So we make sure that we, 12 to 9 months ahead, go through each room. So we'll go through all your ornaments, all your clothes, get your living areas looking pristine, clear out your garage. So what you want to be able to achieve is that the person coming and looking at your home can picture themselves in there living in your home, because that's what's going to sell it for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so when I am thinking about moving, what do I need to think about to prepare for this move?
Well, it's overwhelming sometimes, and that's where we come in to help make a plan and some time frames about, you know, when things need to happen. So first things first, if you've got a move date, it's really important to book in the removalist, because they do fill up really quickly. And we've got a couple of great removalists that we recommend, so ask us and we'll recommend them. The other thing is you've got to arrange all your packing materials. So, you know, you've got boxes, book boxes, standard cartons, we've got porter robes, picture cartons, you've got packing paper, tape, so it's quite a lot to have to think about. And if you've got a large home, it's quite a lot of materials, so we sort all that out too. Change of address, don't forget that. So, you know, you want people to know where you're going, and redirect your mail. Update your license, that's really important as well. After the house has been decluttered, we often suggest a good clean. It can be the inside and also the outside of the house, just to give it that freshen up. It makes a really big difference, and it's lovely when people can view your house looking at its best. It might be that you need a pest treatment as well. Got to think about transferring utilities and the internet. Waste removal is another thing when we're downsizing our clients. It's dependent on how much there is, but there will be some waste. So we work with a great waste supplier who helps us. And then we also arrange for the charity collection. So there's a number of elements involved in a move, but I guess that's where a move manager can help and help you to coordinate and you know, work out the best timelines for that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And so say I am going to brave it myself, what are your tips for packing?
Okay, so I guess, look, this is in no particular order. I'll just, you know, give some good hints and tips. So when you're packing your boxes, make sure that they're labelled really well. You might want to ensure that you've got some fragile tape, or write fragile, or put something very evident on there. Also, make sure you've got a priority box at the end with all your remote controls and your tools for putting your bed together, maybe the screws and things that you need at the end. So, and it might have your kettle too. You know, you've got to have that cup of tea when you arrive. Oh, yes. When you're packing, it's really important to keep like with like. So when you're sorting out your house, you know, don't sort of put you know, your books in with your shoes. Sort of, if it's a last box, that's okay, but put like with like, so when you're unpacking, it's much easier at the other end.
Just makes sense.
Make sure you keep the boxes to a reasonable weight, because, you know, our removalists are pretty strong, but, you know, if we can bear in mind their backs, that makes all the difference. When you're wrapping up, we use butcher's or packing paper. We don't use newspaper because it tends to get off on your hands, and also it can stain plates and other things. The print can come off. So packing paper is a great investment, and it comes in a ream of about 10 kilos or 25 kilos, and we get very paper happy with it. Make sure you use plenty of paper. You can crunch it up and do a layer on the bottom, or you can use linen.
Okay.
So towels or, doonas or pillows down the bottom of your box. When we're packing our plates, we make sure they stand upright. So we fold them all and there's paper in between each one and well packed. Stand them upright and then put another layer of paper and then maybe put a few more things on top. But keeping a good layer of paper in between everything really helps keep everything intact. Do not pack aerosol sprays in. That's, I guess, a bit of a hazard. So it might be an idea to take those sorts of things with you. And quite often we'll encourage our clients to have those plastic tubs as well. And they're great for the bathroom. And we can sort those out too for clients. So, and they're clear, you can see what's in them. Very easy to know that, well, on the other end, I need access to that quickly.
Exactly. So do you recommend to clients that you have an overnight bag or something that you can access easily when you get to your new home that has all of those important items so that people know where they are?
Yeah, so on that pack up day, and move day, so it's really important to ensure that you've got all those important items, an overnight bag, and the priority box with things like your medication. It may be that you've got your personal, some jewellery, those valuable items, your purse, your wallet, checkbook, address book, your mobile phone, toiletries that you might need. You might need a cane or a walker. Make sure you keep those out, as well as your glasses and contacts. Clothing, obviously, for the next day. Any snacks? I think snacks are really important, don't you, Leah?
100%.
So we often bring snacks for our clients as well to keep them well fed and ensure that there's plenty of coffee and tea. Valuable items, and then maybe you might need some paperwork for the community that you're about to join. So it's great to have a senior move manager on board on move day, because then that frees you up to be able to do that administration stuff, and you don't have to worry about all the removal stuff, because we do that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What does a move manager, what can they help with?
So a move manager can help with every aspect of your move, from the time you've decided, I think it's time to move on. So a move manager will come and meet with you. They can help you declutter and downsize, or right size, as we like to call it. We help organise waste and donations, find storage and movers. Arrange cleaning and maintenance that you might need on the home prior to sale, because we want it looking our best.
Exactly.
So we're really a conduit to be able to get your home looking its best, so you can make maximum dollar on the sale. If you're renting, similarly, you need to leave your home that you've been in very good condition, so that you can get your bond back.
Exactly.
We also help coordinate styling and real estate agents. So you may have someone in mind that you like to use, but if not, then we can help you have 3 to choose from, or help you with that. Then we help you pack up your house. So that's a real packing job, and we love it, actually. We've got a number of casual ladies on staff that come and help you in their home. They've all got police checks, and they're all fairly mature, so they understand how to work with clients who are feeling overwhelmed and perhaps a little vulnerable.
Yeah, of course.
Also supervising the removalists on the day, and then the move, and then the unpack. So the unpack is where we get your home feeling like home, and settling in, and ensure that your bed's made and that you've got some fresh milk in the fridge and all those sorts of things, so that you can go to sleep happily that night, because it is so overwhelming.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And who do you find normally books your services? Do you get a lot of people, say, booking for their parents, or is it generally the people who are moving themselves?
Yeah, so both actually. So we'll get calls from people moving themselves, calls from their families, and then also calls from organisations like Churches of Christ, who have identified people, you know, a client may need a little bit of help with downsizing and getting ready to move, and have identified they'd like to move, but perhaps the downsizing is the issue that's holding them back.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be an issue, because there's people out there who, like us, who are experienced and can help you and take that feeling of overwhelm away.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So where can we find your details? If someone wants to book in, where do we find you?
No, that'd be good. So we are online at www.caretomove.com.au.
Perfect.
And we're also on the phone. So if you call 0731801689, and we'll be there on the phone to take your call, and we're happy to come out and do a no obligation meeting, have a cup of tea, and talk about what your next move may be.
Excellent.
So yeah.
So thank you so much for being with us today, Leah. You've provided some amazing information, especially on quite an overwhelming and daunting topic. I think moving is pretty well on the bottom of everybody's
It sure is.
list of things to do.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Anytime.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So jump in line to see what we have coming up in the next few months.